Hi everyone, I'm Zainab and I'm actually a self-taught game developer. I am studying at UNISA for a diploma in IT. I'm also aspiring to be a 3D artist. Unfortunately, I didn't add any of my work onto the slides, but yeah, I'll be heading over to Lina now.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Lina Msiza. I am currently a third-year student at UNISA. I am studying Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Sociology and Communication Sciences. My role in the team is a writer, and I also do administration.
Hello everyone, my name is Tandole Tumabaso. My contribution to the team is that I'm the visual designer and the co-programmer, and I'm currently doing my second year. I'm doing information science and communication sciences.
I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint to be shown. Okay, since introductions are already out of the way, just give me a second, I'll go through the agenda. So we're going to start with the creation of Zenitha, which was briefly mentioned earlier. Then Nina will be going through the storytelling and the concept. Then I'll be going through the evolution of ZZ Squares. So there's a version 1 and version 2. So we did a bit of an upgrade, which I'm very excited to show you guys. And I'll be doing the mechanics, level design, and then we have time to go through the visuals and future plans. And if we have time at the end of the presentation, we'll invite some questions. Sometimes all it takes is one opportunity to set something big in motion. For us, I feel like that means a lot, especially for us, right? Considering this event and the previous one, something so simple as applying, and all of a sudden I'm in Joburg and then Joburg again. A fun fact to know as well is the group of our name, it's a combination of our names which invite unity and originality. I'll now be handing it over to Lina to go through the storytelling and concept. Here you go.
Okay. We developed the game under our banner name, Zenlita, Call of Cultures. The game reimagines African narratives in a post-apocalyptic world where the past and future collide to shape both the story and the gameplay. Okay, we'll start by playing a video. It will explain everything about the narrative of the game.
In the aftermath of a forgotten war, the land is silent, broken. Yet beneath the rubble, the whispers of ancestors still call. Zizi, a lone seeker, journeys across a fractured South Africa, separated from her family, from her roots, but not from her purpose. Guided by the spirits of those who came before, Zizi must reclaim forgotten traditions, revive sacred knowledge, and piece together her shattered world. She embarks on a quest to restore harmony and reunite with her family. Zizi will not stand alone. With newfound allies, she fights not just for survival, but for the spirit of the land itself. Zizi meets allies including Nora, the healer, a wise woman skilled in herbal medicine, providing healing and wisdom to Zizi. Byum, the warrior, a strong Zulu woman from a family of warriors, teaching Zizi combat techniques and strategy. Noble, the thief, a resourceful Ndebele girl skilled in stealth, assisting Zizi with agility and intelligence during their escapades. She and her friends traverse various biomes, each with tests in the dying jungle, she learns to embrace and harness her spiritual powers activated by an abandoned shrine on ancestral ground. In the scorched sands radioactive desert, she navigates ancient ruins under harsh conditions while also battling bandits. In the sacred mountains, she faces spirit trials that test her courage and wisdom. The ancestors speak, teaching her resilience, unity, and the strength of heritage, but shadows rise. Ancient evils seek to erase the past, to sever the bond between people and culture, which is key to defeating it. On her quest, Zizi learns of the Shadow Council, a dark entity threatening the land due to a broken pact between humanity and nature. She confronts her fears, realizing that the battle extends beyond the physical. Building the skills, growth and learning, Zizi acquires vital skills, including combat techniques, problem solving to outsmart predators, and diplomacy to engage with misunderstood creatures. Confronting the Shadow Council. Zizi and her allies face the Shadow Spirit in a climactic battle. By using a family talisman to channel the connection between humanity and nature, they weaken the evil. After defeating the Shadow Spirit, Zizi encourages her community to sustain a respectful relationship with nature, restoring balance and flourishing spirits in the land. Zizi, reunited with her family, returns to her village a hero, celebrated for her bravery and lessons. Zizi's quest is more than just a game, it's an act of cultural preservation. Through digital humanities, we aim to preserve African narratives by embedding folklore, oral traditions, and cultural symbolism into the game's world. Challenge Eurocentrism, many games prioritize Western stories. Zizi's quest shifts the focus, placing African identity at the center. Reimagine heritage, the game reinterprets traditional stories within a modern and interactive format.
All right, that is the story. Thank you. Okay. At its heart, the game explores themes of resilience, heritage, and unity. Zizi's personal journey to find her family mirrors a larger quest for self-discovery and reconnection with forgotten histories. As players guide Zizi, they too uncover the wisdom and values of indigenous South African cultures, from the spiritual significance of the land to the oral histories passed down through generation. Well, the inspiration behind this story is deeply, Zizi's quest is deeply inspired by the rich cultural diversity and oral storytelling traditions of South Africa and the broader African continent. Growing up surrounded by the tales of ancestral spirits, sacred lands, and communal values, I wanted to create a narrative that reflects how these stories shape identity and resilience. The post-apocalyptic fracture world of Zizi is a metaphor for the real-world struggles of marginalized communities, displacement, loss of heritage, and environmental destruction. We were driven by questions like, how do we reconnect with culture after it has been buried under modern crisis? What happens when ancient wisdom is forgotten? The story draws from African mythology and folklore, spiritual trials, sacred shrines, and ancestral guides. Personal and community experiences. Growing up in environments where cultural roots and survival often go hand in hand. Post-apocalyptic themes reimagining a South Africa where nature and tradition must be restored. Additionally, Ubuntu, I am because we are, was a key influence shaping Zizi's bond with her allies and her journey to rebuild, not just for herself, but for the entire community. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now that we have the story out of the way, it's time to get into the actual game. So just a note, I want you guys to pay attention when you look at this game. It's known as a 2D top-down game, so it's pixelated. It also has a lighter theme to it, and I want you to compare it after this video. So this is what we showcased on the hackathon. Uh,
In a world torn apart, where chaos reigns and shadows creep into every corner, one girl dares to defy destiny. She fights for the ones she loves, for a future worth believing in. Guided by the strength of her ancestors, their whispers echoing through time, she unravels the secrets of her lineage and discovers the unimaginable power within her grasp. But power alone is not enough. She must navigate treacherous lands, confront ancient evils, and face trials that will test her courage, resolve, and heart. She will rise against overwhelming odds. She will challenge fate itself. This is her quest. This is her story. The fate of her world rests in her hands, and she cannot do it alone. Will you stand by her side? Will you help her find the way? The journey begins now.
So fun fact, the voiceover is actually by AI. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Ooh. So these are just clips because the second version of ZZ's Quest is still under development. So as you can see, it's 3D now. The atmosphere is more eerie. It's in first person because I want the player to have a more immersed into the gameplay. Lastly, we added a new enemy, and apologies for my pronunciation, Mukuvu. I have no idea if I said that right. So this is a new enemy we added. It's a zombie. It's adding more. We added to add more sense of danger and tension in the game. Lastly, we have the ancestor who guides Zizi on a path and lends a power to Zizi to overcome challenges. Thank you. I'll now be handing it over to Tando.
All right, so please keep in mind that I'm still a student and I have been lacking in terms of progress, in terms of the visuals. Yes. So basically, the inspiration for my visual route is just South African culture. From the colors to the shapes, even the enemy types. Is it off? Even the enemy types, like Zainab introduced, we have Damkovo, which is essentially a zombie, as she has stated, that is converted by a witch, and therefore it becomes a puppet of sorts. So the lore behind this is that the Shadow Council converts victims that they managed to abduct. So, as I have mentioned, it draws heavily from our intricate, oh God. From intricate designs. The character designs that I went for, as you can see, this is a concept art that I drew up of Zizi, just to make it more unique in a sense. So each character, especially Zizi, is designed with distinct features that tells their story. And as Zainab has mentioned before, she is guided by her ancestor. I'm honestly so proud of this drawing. Anyways, so each character design uses culturally significant attire, accessories, and expressions to convey individual backgrounds and roles. Each character carries symbolic items and makeup and face paints, which elaborate their culture. Zizi's ancestor will be the one who is guiding her throughout her journey, which will basically think of it as a way to enhance gameplay, but also add more folklore to it. The environments are affected by the apocalyptic events that happened due to the Shadow Council. So now the environment is damaged, and not because of corporate greed, but because of magic this time around. We have the lush jungles, which have rich greenery that wasn't too affected by the apocalypse. We have radiation wastelands, which are environments that have been affected by radiation. And we have sacred mountains, which is where we intend for Zizi to go for more guidance and to get a better education about her spiritual journey. It will have loot, which will enable things like spells and other attacks to be used by the player. So the details and textures, I had to be a bit more adaptive this time around because it's no longer 2D. I had to move on to Blender, which is a 3D modeling software. You can do 2D as well, but it's more famous for enabling a person to make things in 3D. So the little hut you see in the header, I designed it in Blender and I painted it as well. And I'm still a beginner, hence why it looks a bit, yeah, ne? The color palette is carefully selected to reflect the South African landscapes and cultures. We have the warm earth tones, which mainly is a result of people making houses from clay and other natural materials. We have vibrant accents like blues and greens and yellows. I'm sure if you have been to a village, you'll see a lot of houses are like light blue or light green or light orange. It's very vibrant, and they have somehow managed to, the people somehow managed to maintain that by using natural materials. There's an emphasis on harmony, which is brought to the player's attention by the Ndebele tribe, which is where Zizi will go to the most for guidance and to get an education about her culture. The main inspirations for the designs of the Ndebele village was African architecture. Since it's the post-apocalypse, it's inevitable that the orderly and geometric patterns and proportions would be difficult to rebuild under so much stress. As you can see, the triangles aren't as symmetrical, and therefore it's a lot harder, but even more important, to incorporate the meaningful colors. So in 3D, it's a bit difficult to make it more fantastical, so therefore you have to utilize methods like VFX and CGI. Like, for example, any Marvel movie, you'll see it's just Chris Hemsworth in a room that's green, but when it's on screen, he's flying around and being beaten up by Thanos. So that is like the main thing that I'm trying to go forward in terms of CGI and VFX. It's just making it more fantastical and engaging, because a lot of educational games have a tendency of being a bit bland, so I don't want it to feel like you're learning, just having fun and you're learning along the way. And we'll also utilize cinematic sequences such as cutscenes and animation that is executed in Blender as well. And this is a way of focusing on key narrative moments that are portrayed through beautifully animated cutscenes. And these scenes will elaborate the lore whilst also enhancing the way the player engages with the game. So in conclusion, the aesthetics are crafted to inspire the youth to learn more about different cultures and the mythology that accompanies different tribes in realistic yet whimsical environments and vibrant character designs. I carefully curated how I'd incorporate specific elements in a way that supports the narrative, respects a player's cultural background, because there's nothing more annoying than seeing your culture being portrayed incorrectly. I think we can all relate to the weird amalgamations of South African culture in the Black Panther movies. So I don't want it to end up being like that. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, come on, you can do better than that. This is our students at least. So now, we've had many success stories in the project, but I think this is one of our greatest success stories. Now, this is an interesting thing for me. These are students not of the future. These are students now. And think what they've managed to produce, the elements of discussion, the critique, the competencies, and these are students that are sitting in your classes. So I think we need to, if we do not, and this was quite important for me for bringing the student voice in, if we do not push ourselves to meet where they are, they're going to leave and go somewhere else. And we need to rethink this a bit. Okay, questions, easy questions. Easy. Any questions? Anything on Gates? Yes, please. Can we get a microphone here, Richard? Okay. Easy questions, please. Not philosophical, deep engagement questions. Simple questions. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. You can decide who wants to answer.
Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation. I think from the morning, one question that came up for me was, what then do we teach? Now that you have achieved what you have achieved, you've self-taught, you are able to work in a team, you can think deep and etc. What are you still doing in university? What is it that we can teach you?
Okay, so I actually have no qualifications. So I do want a qualification in IT so I can get a job, because many job opportunities, they're like, you need a diploma, you need a bachelor's, and that's why I'm still in university currently. I don't know if I answered your question properly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. How long did it take you to come up with this game? And secondly, would you be willing to work with other people that want to create something similar? In this case, I'm talking about maybe academics that would want to convert their courses to something like this.
Okay, so for the first question, right? Can you just repeat the first question? Sorry. How long? So the story behind it took the whole month for the hackathon, because we were always changing. But the mechanics behind it, so she was on the first game. Tando helped me with the building of the game, so that took us like 5 days roughly, and we didn't know this language of this game engine. It's called Game Maker. And then with the 3D version, it was Godot, so I was the lone developer for that part, and that took me roughly about 4 days, and I did not know, I knew nothing about the game engine. I had to learn while I'm going. So I hope that answered your first question. Your second question? Oh yes, I'm always trying to get more people involved as well, so yes, you can reach out to me if you actually do want to come.
let me first congratulate you for the excellent presentation.
Thank you.
I must say I feel intimidated right now because I thought I'd join the hackathon, but I didn't know what was in store. So somehow you made it come alive for us. Have you thought of actually extending it to different platforms as well? Like I'm thinking animation, cartoons, or even ebooks. Because somehow I think I was particularly impressed to see young people actually navigating into cultural spaces with so much sensitivity. So I was particularly blown away by that. I mean, looking at your age, and because somehow I think a lot of for researchers, we're always blamed of actually being so insensitive and actually not having an insight. I mean, seeing ourselves as outsiders and actually getting into cultural spaces. So I was particularly impressed with that. So well done.
Okay, in terms of the platforms we want to extend to, there are platforms such as Steam, itch.io, and Google Play, amongst others. Of course, those need a bit more admin, but we are working on it. In terms of animation, we are willing to do how can I say, a short film at some point, maybe a year or two later, just elaborating on the law. For example, there's this game called League of Legends, and it routinely releases short films based off of each character. So perhaps we could go for a strategy like that. And in terms of avoiding being culturally insensitive, it's just a matter of consuming as much media as you can, because I'm not Ndebele, I'm Zulu, so it was a bit difficult to navigate the Ndebele culture and the architecture, because it's very intricate and very meaningful. So what I did is that I just tried my best to learn in like essays or articles or short documentaries. So that's my advice on avoiding being culturally insensitive. It's just to consume a lot of media, or even talking to people from those cultures. It's a bit more simpler. Is that all? Is that all? Yeah. Oh, Lina is her.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I'm currently writing a book about the whole story. There'll be more dramatic scenes. It's going to be awesome. Really, I'm expanding the story. So yeah, that's also exciting.
I have a question for you. I have commendation for you. Thank you for sharing this with us, and thank you for being young people who are connected to your culture. I think that you should continue this, because there are several of us, including myself, whose children are culturally alienated. Okay? Because we don't teach them, we don't do anything about it, and they can go all over the world and do all sorts of things and speak all sorts of languages and all of that, and they cannot speak their own mother tongue. They don't know anything about their culture. You are the future. You are the ones to help us to do the things that we did not do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Quick comment and then a question. Communication sciences, sociology, information sciences, and I think information technology, IT, if I'm not mistaken. That is a great demonstration of what we mean by digital humanities. And so I was struck by that. and the fact that you are demonstrating what we are talking about. And so congratulations in terms of creating a team that has skills, that come from your traditional IT backgrounds as well as from your humanities disciplines. And I was struck by the narrative, the visuals, and the storytelling. And I'm sort of like interested in how do you guys think that what you are studying and the skills that you have helped you in putting together the great work that you've put together? Thanks.
So based on the question, right, I'm hoping I'm answering a question. So because I'm in IT and I'm the game developer, thanks to Unisa teaching me the IT concepts, I grasped, that's how I was able to make the game, 5 days, 3 days. It's because I knew the logic behind. They taught me that, and that's how I was able to progress so far.
As a student in the College of Human Sciences, we learn a lot about culture, respect, and we learn a lot about people, so, and how the world works. So I think it's really helped in making the story. Yes.
Personally, for me, in terms of information sciences, it helps me to incorporate information from different cultures in a very practical way, because what I do learn in information sciences is that there are lots of ways of sharing and transferring knowledge, the different types of knowledges. I'm not gonna go into a lecture, but it helps because I do want to incorporate an aspect in the game where it's a scroll. So when you open the scroll, you can just read about the culture, and what's that? Written communication. And of course, there'll also be like the more indirect ways of learning about something. Like for instance, if Zizi were to go to the mountains, maybe in Lesotho, you aren't getting taught about Lesotho, you just learn along the way. That is another way that information is learned. That's another way that information is shared. So it's just a very, very simple aspect of the game, but I feel like it's one of the core aspects, since it does have to be educational, and it's really important to educate people in different ways and not just one long way where they just keep reading or they keep listening or they just keep getting tiny fragments of information. It has to be a combination, because we are all different and our brains are different. Therefore, we all need different ways of retaining information. Thank you.